Hey everybody, welcome to Ask the Anabolic Doc, starring Dr. Thomas O'Connor, brought to you by his book, America on Steroids, A Time to Heal, available at Amazon. You know that website, people, I bet you do. And on his website, Testosteronology. Testosteronology is a new branch of medicine specifically for men, pioneered by Dr. O'Connor, and he is training testosteronologists for the future so that he doesn't have to handle all the men of the world just by himself. Please welcome from Connecticut, Dr. Thomas O'Connor. How are you, Doc?
Thank you very much, Ron. Very excited for today's show.
Yeah, so there was another video. It was on another channel. Haha. See how I don't give credit? It was called Steroids Can't Be Used Safely. But I wanted to pose it as a question because I use steroids. So, of course, I'm not going to take that lying down. I want to really hammer into the subject, get into the meat of it for my fellow users out there. Can steroids be used safely for bodybuilding? Preface it by saying, obviously, TRT is not in this conversation. That is very safe. And let's define it for TRT because I have to apologize for a lot of the juice heads out there. I got guys who are on like 500-600 grams of test a week. They're saying I'm on TRT plus 500 grams of equipoise plus 400 grams of tren. I said they just call test TRT now. Somehow
Right.
that's become a term.
Glad you're saying all this. It's perfect.
Yeah, but I'm like, dude, you're not on TRT, and I don't claim to be on TRT. I'm not on TRT. I'm on more than TRT, and that's why I'm gonna pester you today because I know it's not safe. There's no safe way to put it in quotes abuse steroids, but you don't turn patients away. You don't say get out of here. I'm not going to treat you. Go off and crawl in a hole and die somewhere. You rotten juice head. You're kind, you're compassionate, you're empathetic, and you treat these people like a doctor's supposed to. So someone like me comes to you, says, I like using steroids. I'm not going to stop using them unless something in my health markers says this is a very, very bad idea. Continuing down this path is going to lead to imminent death and destruction for you. But, we've gone over my labs and I'm very fortunate. And I've spoken to other guys who are that exception to the rule where they can use steroids for many, many years, just like some people can smoke and drink for many years and not have the adverse reaction. So, somebody like me comes to you, Doc. I want to be healthy. I want to live as long as I can. Not 120 is your goal, right? 120.
110 with the poodles.
You want to be the oldest guy still getting a Civil War pension, but no.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So if I come to you into your office and say, Dr. O'Connor, please help me stay as healthy as I can. What do you do? What do you sit down and tell somebody like me?
So I do it every day, Ron. That's I have TRT division and I have anabolic recovery division. That's it. TRT anabolic recovery. So I've been doing this 2003. I mean, it's kind of like an interesting point. Like the first patient I saw in 2003, when I look back, I guess I was doing it the next morning, right? Because I couldn't stop thinking about it. So certainly in the last 10 years, I've transitioned my practice where I really don't do primary care. Do I have like 5 people or 10 people that I do primary care for and a few ladies that have twisted my arm? Of course I do. But my day job, we're getting sometimes three new consults a day, some days 5. And I'm just, all over the world, during this period because men are, they trust me and nothing else matters. So here's the deal, Ron.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. We have data that using steroids, and steroids, you prefaced, super physiologic. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Steroids is not TRT. Boom, you nailed it. But even TRT, 20 minutes ago, I'm busy today, which I love doing this for you, though I break everything to do this because it's very important to do.
Thank you.
I always will because you guys were there. You guys helped me and you featured me as the anabolic doc in 2009. And I don't, just because I'm big now, I don't forget where I come from.
Awesome.
I'm not kidding. So, and that's cool. You and Steve Blackman. Thank you. So I worked on a man this morning that is my age and he had runs of VTAC. Everything I always have to examine. That's almost died. And he had to wear the vest, a life vest. And anyone who out there is a paramedic or fireman or EMT, a nurse or a doctor or anyone who's had this or knows this, runs of VTAC. Okay, so he's on TRT. He has a gene for hereditary human chromatosis. His red blood cell levels were so high, I deal with it all the time, that myself and the electrophysiology doctor up there in Illinois somewhere figured out that he deposited enough iron into his heart, which happens from this condition, from excessive red blood cells, that he had these tracts that were ablated, that were burned out, that caused him to have the runs of VTAC, and he's cured. Now, I can't even put him on teeny doses of testosterone because he's not even TRT. So that's my clinical presentation. I'm done, right, Ron? You understand?
Yeah.
Okay, so TRT can die. Cigarettes can die, breathing air, people can die. Let's move on. Okay. If you take steroids, steroids can be done safely. This is going to be a great show. So when I think of steroids, I think of super physiologic, high dose test, correct? And thank you. Tren, equipoise. Come on, Ron. All the Winstrol, Anavar, A-bombs, boom, baby.
DECA, I love the DECA. Come on.
All the good stuff. DECA, it's old school. This is the framework and the basis of our show we've been doing for a very long time, and we're going to continue. So the studies have come in now, although they're not perfect, that when certain men with pre-existing conditions and different moons line up, you use steroids, you're going to get side effects, head to toe, hair loss, puffiness. With puffiness comes the estrogenicity and hypertension. With that can come heart issues, DVTs. There's a guy that one of your guys is in the hospital and he had a DVT in his leg. Okay, we know who he is, right? He had a DVT, he had a clot in his leg, right? He said it might, okay. He said, I just don't like to say names. Okay.
Oh, it's all over he's done tons of interviews. It's fine.
Okay. So he, and bright guy, very bright guy, I think a very nice guy and one of the brighter guys, out there. And he's, I think, been very beneficial for the bodybuilding. He's been a very good mayor, if you will, and the guy, a mediator out there and a representative for the bodybuilding community, quite good one. He talks about COVID caused the DVT. Okay. Now but we know that hormones, including testosterone and estrogen for men and women, in even low doses, can cause blood clots. God forbid we talk about it, Ron. Okay, so again, I'm showing you those are complications.
Yeah.
And we know there's another guy that had a very bad DVT and he has other health issues, and the complication on that DVT led to an amputation. So
okay, I thought you were talking about Flex before. This is somebody different you were just talking about.
Yeah, not even talking about Flex, talking about.
I don't know who it is, but that's okay. Moving on.
Okay. He's in the news and he's, hey guys, I'm in the ER and I have a blood clot. Why would you even?
Oh, it was Guy.
Yeah,
he was all over social media. Guy Cisternino, very good guy.
Again, I have to be very careful. I'm a physician. And I'm trusted by a lot of people in the world, all over the world, not just America.
Yeah.
I have to be careful. Guy, this is not against you, but can we talk about the 250 or the 212-pound elephant in the room? I mean, God forbid we talk about steroids. Well, I openly talk about them, and they're so defensive. And sir, you're not a doctor. Ron, you're not a doctor. That's why we're doing this. And thank God. And I don't have all fanfare. Some guys think I'm a raging, arrogant lunatic, and that's okay. But I use science. I have enough guys that love me and come to me and trust me. I'm a physician and I have to be a leader. So I use science. Steroids, big doses, have complications. Ron, you're not going to argue me. No one could argue me. Now, the data. 23-year-old men can take almost anything they want and not have a complication. Thank you very much. 23, 27, 32. Now, you get to 45 or 50, you're lucky, Ron.
Yeah, I know.
Ron, you're one of the lucky ones. And we could line off a lot of lucky guys, and we could line off a lot of unlucky guys. 23-year-old men that have been unlucky from steroids, 32-year-old men, and 42 and 52. I rest my case. Anabolic steroids cannot, for that level, the stacks, and this is where I'm teaching doctors. Doctor, Be humble. You don't know what you're talking. You need to know about steroids, doctor. You need to pay attention and listen and look at my teachings. These is what meant millions upon millions upon millions. I am so far backlogged, but I work 24/7. And the truth is, this is going to be told, especially in this day and age where we have these raging things going on and hatred and people against each other. And there's no science. There's no data. People just get raged. Science, Rod, steroids can definitely hurt people. How lucky do you feel to remember Clint Eastwood? I don't remember if I shot 5 or 6.
Yeah.
How do you feel, punk? And I don't want to say these are punks. I love these guys. I'm one of them. I'm one of them. And obviously I live on testosterone for over 20 years, and I'm in the foxhole with these guys. And I love being big and strong. Certainly was never Mr. America. I benched a lot of weight, and I'm a little strong guy. But I love the effects, and I love to be big and strong, and that's why I'm fighting the fight. So can steroids be used safely? Look at bodybuilders that retire in their 40s and 50s. They have, I think it's exclusive, 100%. They have side effects and they're suffering some medical complication. Ron?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, at the very least, everyone who uses steroids eventually is going to have ASIH, the anabolic steroid induced.
They're going to be shut down. Every single one. So this is for guys. No, we're talking like, oh, that's not a complication. Well, if you're talking to Frank Smith and he's 22 or 23, or his mother or his wife, you just say, really? You're going to end up being on steroids for testosterone forever because you're shut down your hypothalamus pituitary gonad. We don't even. Yes. Oh, that's nothing. And your hair loss, and you'll be hypertensive. Your heart's going to enlarge. Maybe you'll have a heart attack. People have all this stuff anyway, Doc. Well, you know what? This is a free world. Forget America. People all over the world, relative degrees of freedom politically, they take steroids and people do steroids. Can they be used safely? As a physician, that would be so poor in judgment for me to say that. And I'm not an anti-aging doctor. They're all going to be losing their licenses anyway, because every week they're losing their licenses because they're just cowboys. Every week, guys are pouring in. Doc, the guy lost his license. They shut the place down from, oh, yeah. I know you look at it like, wow, but Ron.
I thought they were thriving.
Huh?
I thought those places were all thriving.
You know what? They thrive and they get shut down. They thrive, they get shut down. They turn over. Oh, they're cranking. There's tons of them. And I'm not doing it to get business. Fuck off, people who say that. This is ridiculous.
You're quite busy enough. You're quite busy enough.
Because, see this attitude? I got guys who like this attitude because I tell the truth. I'm here for truth, not bullshit. These places are just selling garbage for people. Some men, even on a little testosterone, could have severe complications. I just told you about the guy with red cell elevation, and he has runs of VTAC. He can't even go back on testosterone right now. I don't even, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this guy yet.
Even we talked to Dr. T a couple weeks ago when we did the roundtable about mental health, and doesn't he have an issue with his hematocrit goes up if he when he uses?
Yeah, Dr. T agrees with me. Yeah. Dr. T agrees. He says you can't. Now, people use steroids because they just love to use them. That's a whole different, so that was my long-winded response. Excuse me. Yeah. You come to me, you're a guy comes to me. I have half my practice are guys like you that are currently on steroids, enjoy the steroids, but are concerned. They're concerned for their health. And I do my history and physical. Every man's got a fingerprint. And then I put together a recommendation. The recommendation is always going to be to transition from steroids to testosterone replacement with me, if of course he needs it. The average guy's 37. He's been on steroids for 10 years. He's going to need it. Okay, thank you. And then this is not urology medicine or endocrinology. This is testosteronology. And then I look at his particular medical history, including the heart, and that's the focus, the mental health. This is not an easy job. And then I make recommendations and I work with other doctors, and this is my day job. And if you can sit, I have men that continually are active steroid users, and some big cats in the world, no mention of even classes or what they're competing in. I got them. Okay. And how do I ethically deal with that?
Yeah.
I don't give them the steroids. You're taking the steroids, but I could treat your blood pressure. I could prevent you from having a complication, and I'm never going to lose my license for treating your blood pressure and documenting. I've documented to Ron that these are risks that we know. There's some unknown risks, and I would like to care for him. I'm holding him, and I'm giving him a chance to come back in 60 days to don't lose him. And then I know what I feel comfortable with doing as a physician, and I know what I'm not comfortable. I'm never comfortable giving steroid doses. I don't have to, and you don't want that. You're going to give it to yourself, and I'm going to explain it to you and your wife. Here's what you're looking at with your heart and your issues and what could happen, what's happened. And then I say, so here's how we could limit that. And still, hopefully, you could still feel well, have sex, train hard. But are you going to be Mr. America or Mr. Olympia? You guys these are not idiots. Doc, I know what's going on. But guys who actively take steroids and are under my care, I'm monitoring them. I'm treating them for medical issues that are secondary to it, that are dangerous, that can kill them. But I'm not using steroids to treat them. They're giving, and usually in my data, we have a huge data bank we're about to publish. We're on the edge of publishing. When I look at that, we're looking at this data constantly. When I look at it, most men that come to me, they're motivated to come to me, are at the point where they're willing to transition over to TRT. And that's what I'm teaching doctors, but it has to be done appropriate. If you've done one cycle of Anavar, you may not need TRT.
No,
okay,
not.
Thank you. But the men that are on for years and years and years, for a doctor to say, come off and get out of here, you're going to come back. That's an ignorant, that doctor doesn't know. He doesn't know. Thank you. And that was my initial fight. Now we're to a much greater level of bringing this with love and care and kindness to men that could be suffering the consequences. Treat the suffering. Doctor doesn't have to. When a doctor treats a heroin user from the ER to the clinic, he doesn't have to give him a goddamn hit of heroin. He may give methadone. I say it over or Suboxone for chronic opioid. Come on, Ron. This is the same thing. Can heroin be used? It's a bad example. Can heroin be used safely? Well, some people are going to say, sure, it can be. I've heard people say that they've used they were very rigorous. Cocaine, they were very rigorous, and they were recreationally using, and they had that limit and that line in the sand where they can control it. People, Ron, there are some people that say it. You know it's true.
Oh, I've never heard of any. I've talked to people that seem to be able to control their occasional cocaine use, but I don't know, heroin, OxyContin, things like that seem to be so incredibly addictive that people just can't.
Hold on, I agree, but I've seen, it's a small number, but I've seen people say that they have control. I used to do it back then, and I was able to control. Oh, that's interesting. I think the number and the cocaine guys, how many people have just, you go out to, I don't know, what do I want to say, like Long Island, you go out to Jones Beach, out to the Hamptons, and you do some blow. I just wasn't my drug of choice. I don't do these. I don't like this, but certainly a lot of people, and they kind of can control that, it seems, but maybe they have a stroke or a big stroke or a heart attack, or maybe they just, they're so miserable and they're so depressed, they lose their job, or they snap at the wife, or this is life. And then I call it's so multifactorial. There's so many pieces in it that it's never just a yes or no, Ron. So can steroids be used safely? As an expert physician that's an anabolic doctor, I have to question that. So you're going to, and Ron, you're just a VIP. You're lucky. You're very vigilant. You have great cardiac health. We got you a calcium, if you don't mind me saying, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we looked at your heart. You agree with me. I recommended that. Yep. We set you up with great doctors. You're in a great city. There are other great cities in this country. You had great care. They gave you medicines, Ron, and thank you. We did something for you to protect you, and you had the evidence of plaque and LVH. I know you did, because I remember you telling me. So now, would your brother, would your twin who never did steroids have plaque? I would bet you, and we have no direct head-to-head studies on this stuff yet, but I don't even know if we're going to have that. But we're arguably that he probably wouldn't.
Mm.
All the big muscles, those big shoulders and that chest and those incredible legs, and I know will come back when this pandemic's over. So is there a proportion to growth of the left ventricle? And it's not the athletic heart from the 1950s. Smack and get away from me, athletic heart. So anabolic androgenic agents grow that. They grow that. And the left ventricle is a wall. It's a muscle. And when you grow that and that gets thickened, we have a lot of data. Harvard guys there. And again, we don't forget the big H, the names. Great data, okay, that steroid users have dysfunction in the function of the pumping of the heart. No one's going to argue me because I see it all the time. Now,
Right.
not him, not me, not him. And if it takes off 20 years of my life, I'll have the best years that I have. But 20, you want to suffer when you're 50, 60, 70? I'm just trying to be up. So I've developed protocols to protect steroid users while they're on steroids, to give them the time and the ability to make the decision to come off and to be captured and to be protected and safe. That's it.
Okay, so like you are able to convince most of these people that blasting gear is not a good idea for their long-term health and longevity, but you're still going to get people like me that, well, I don't want to just to be on TRT. I want to feel and look a certain way, and here
But
I
you're
am as a patient. Can you help me manage any side effects that might befall me?
Active medicine. So we're moving into a new culture now. Is it correct? And with this day and age, what's going on in this country, no one's going to argue me with this one. Who even cares about this right now, right? We have bigger fish to fry, which is certainly for the moment understandable. Okay, you're on steroids. You just said it. You like a little more than TRT or a lot more than TRT. You're part of that. You're still a young man, but you are being protected from the side effects, Ron. You're being monitored. That's all I want.
So if somebody is responsible and very vigilant about, getting their blood pressure monitored, getting blood work, so they see, getting their heart scans, obviously I'm not going to come out and I would never, it would be incredibly irresponsible for me to tell anyone you can use steroids safely, but you can use them in a safer manner if you are hyper vigilant about all these things and you work closely with a physician who's intelligent in these matters and caring and is willing to work with you to manage things like, plaque in your arteries or your blood pressure, or, what are a couple other common things that someone in my situation might have to be concerned with?
Those are the most important. Those are the most important. The function of the heart, and of course, secondary issues like the kidney. So, but hypertension, the abnormalities in the lipid, creating a state of chemistry where you're going to lay plaque down. You nailed it. And forget the esoteric things, but the red cells, it's all internal medicine on anabolics, which is testosteronology, anabolic recovery. So, and Ron, I've been at this for a long time. Now, I have no data to say in a controlled, randomized, double-blinded, here's a steroid user. Listen to this, because we want to go forward and maybe do some of these studies. Here's a steroid user. Let's randomize, double-blind. You really can't double-blind so much because it's going to be a group of steroid users and try to get an equal group of steroid users with the same age, medical history, social history, right? So risks, and then treat aggressively the one group and not treat the other group. Let me tell you something why the IRB and the ethical, the review board would never let that happen. Because listen, correct. Listen, because that Ron Harris, your lipids, you're on medicine integrated in that you're taking and you're tolerant to it, that it's going to protect someone regardless of steroids, and steroids worse than some of those. So we're blocking the effects with certain medicines in your heart. We know that you're going to have a better outcome. We ethically can't even set that study up because we know. So can steroids be safer and protected when you're under monitored care? The answer is absolutely.
So, okay, Now, when we're talking about it's all relative because you know, I'm very open about what I use. I say every fourth day. So today's a shot day. So today's a Friday as we're recording this. So my next shot would be Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So every fourth day, I do 1 cc of test cypionate, 200 milligrams, and 100 milligrams of Deca. I'm actually going to switch compounds to Equipoise soon. That's as far as a steroid user and the people I know, that's nothing. It's like a baby dose, not for babies. But if some, I stole
I
that from you.
trained.
I steal from the best.
Yeah,
But if somebody wanted to
I enjoy it.
blast, say a couple times a year, someone like me wants to blast and do 600 milligrams of test a week and 600 milligrams of Equipoise, or maybe like 400 milligrams of Tren instead of that. Um, you know, how much more dangerous is that than just the very moderate amounts that I'm
Ron,
on,
it
or is that
depends.
impossible to answer?
No, it's impossible to answer because it depends on what your medical issues are.
Mm,
It depends on if your blood pressure goes up. I've been posed this question over and over. And again, I ask the guys not to do it, but if they do it, you're protecting them against themselves. So could you take more protective medicines when they're blasting? The answer is why not?
that's a good.
That's why you love me, and that's why I'm on the show, right? So that's why in the end we're in the same. We went at it, right? Now you had to ask me, got me all riled up. So the truth in the end is ethically, I don't see how a doctor cannot ethically always recommend cessation and transition, but at the same time, he's hypertensive as a banshee, or his heart, or he's got a clot. You know it's going to get worse. His red cells are elevated. How do you let him leave without not taking care of that acute particular medical issue that you know is going to could lead to a worse outcome? That's what I'm teaching doctors. And no one is we document everything, and you're never going to get in trouble, doctor. Now you're going to get in trouble because now, look what's happening. I mean, there's vigilance on everything now. We have, and that's going to be a good thing, vigilance on people and caring. We're trying to get to a more civilized place, I guess, in the end. You know, so we're just going to be this perfect creature. Who knows, Ron? Good luck, right? So in the end, but I'm really in the middle on this. I mean, I could see all sides, Ron, and I'm sure you can too. You know, we love our brotherhood and policemen, and there's some bad things going on, and I hate that it's black and white. I hope it isn't, but it seems like it could be. But the truth of the matter is, steroid users, stop the polarity. Stop the polarity. Take care of the individual person and give them that personal review as an expert and break it down and protect them as a human being. But you have to use an itemized list. Not every guy has the same medical issues, Ron.
right.
How are your red cells? You don't. You're. Hold on, Ron. You're a healthy man. You're lucky. Some people have cancer, leukemia.
Mm.
I've seen horrible things. Young 35-year-old people with brain cancer. They say to me, I used to be primary care doctor. They say, doctor, why me? What did I do? I didn't smoke. I didn't. Correct, Ron.
Mm.
Bad luck.
Yeah.
Bad luck. So
Why me? Good luck. I don't know. Thank you,
and you
God.
know, Ron, but every day, every hour, every day is a blessing. And tomorrow we don't know. And that's a beautiful spiritualism. So, you know, it's interesting where you have these young men that are so blessed with health. And there's another young man in the world that says, I have leukemia or cancer. I can't even walk. And you're destroying that body because you're narcissistic and you're arrogant and you don't realize how beautiful you have it. You don't realize that's humility. But that's the eyes of everyone has their own eyes that they're behind and they see life. You have a beautiful, healthy body and you're taking it to the max. And that's a beautiful thing. You're very lucky. And I think you're very mature. And thank God you're open and honest. People are, and you're helping because you're saying what you're on. And I'm sure there are people that are mouth bouncing, dry. Oh my God. I mean, the world's opening up and you're protected though. But Ron, you do have, because you access to me and I love taking care of, helping you and directing and everyone. You go to doctors. We need men to go to doctors. We need doctors not to discriminate. Correct? Every day doctors calling. I have so many doctors on board right now, I can't even call them all back. Today I have 2 to call. I can't even call them now. I have a fellowship. We're opening a fellowship a testosteronology fellowship.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm training. That's what I'm training the doctors through right now, and I have a few we're training right now. So,
Yeah, I
Ron,
mean, we
you're
need more because, you and the doctors you're training, unfortunately, you're still in the minority because if the average steroid user comes to his doctor and says, I'm on steroids, I'm not going to stop using steroids, but I would like you to help manage my health and help me with the side effects, the blood pressure, the cholesterol, anything that might be skewed because of my
yes,
steroid use. And I don't know how many doctors would be sympathetic and say, okay, you're my patient, I'll treat you because that's the right
more
thing
and
to
more
do.
are. More and more are. The
Hmm.
younger guys, the younger generation, the old fuddy-duddies, these old arrogant they're on the way out. I'm just, excuse me, doctors, I'm sorry. People respect us because we have the MD, MD, and we're our education, and we're some of the smartest guys in the class, I guess.
Yeah.
Don't use that against people. That's the old arrogant. Am I right or wrong, Rod? People look to us as leaders and healers, but when they don't get, we can't heal everyone. Now we have no time to heal, and so people are mad at doctors, and they turn to other non-traditional therapies, sometimes the streets, and anti-aging is a growth because traditional medicine let it go. They let this go. I'm bringing this back to traditional medicine where it actually never was. That's called testosteronology. It's a subdivision. It's a specialization of internal medicine. Because endocrinologists, they don't know what tren and decadron, they don't even know what testosterone really does. They
Yeah.
don't. They're
I,
excellent at diabetes.
I met with one once and I was astounded. It was a female doctor. Just neither here nor there, but I was astounded how little she knew about steroids. I'm thinking, well, of all the doctors, specialists, certainly this woman's going to know all about steroids, and she was so clueless,
Ron,
so clueless.
their life is becoming microcosmed. There's 7 doctors for the heart. One does interventional and puts stents in. The other one is a heart failure doc. The other one is an electrophysiologist. There's 10 docs for the eye.
God.
How can endocrine? We have diabeticologists now. Wait a minute, that's an endocrine guy who just does diabetes better than you. Can't keep up on all the information and data. No doctor is going to argue me. Anabolic steroids and testosterone is its own specialty. It's very complicated. It's a little cardiology, it's a little hematology. I discover and work with, but it's internal medicine. It's not a surgery. There's no surgery going on. So urology doctors, those are surgeons. I'm not saying that some of these doctors don't know a lot about steroids and testosterone, but to do so, they have to really go up over and really go after that information. It's not taught in medical. Anabolic steroids, I didn't have one class that I remember where I was sleeping through it.
Yeah, I heard it was covered in like 15 minutes during one
I
lecture.
don't even know. It was, during pharmacology, we learned about all the different drug classes, and it is testosterone's an anabolic androgenic steroid. I don't remember it, but because I was on some of the stuff myself, I was interested. I was just probably studying it. Now we have media. Now we have YouTube. We have the internet. That's why everyone is accelerating. So, and I'm not putting these doctors down. They're coming on board with me. Every bright endocrinologist agrees with me that he knows more about diabetes than I do, and thyroid and osteoporosis, but I know more about steroids than they do
Yeah.
because
I
I do
think
24/7 for 15 years.
right. Well,
Or,
you're all specialists. You always refer people to psychiatrists or nephrologists or whatever the appropriate
we work
specialist that they
together.
need is. Yeah.
Everything's specialized. Everything's specialized now, and that's what this is. But it's kind of primary care. Someone said, "Doc, I know you're not my primary care doctor. I'm not going to ask for a Z-Pack." He said, I'm not going to hit. I'm not going to when I have a runny nose and when I have a rash. I can't call your office. Okay, so I want to differentiate that. But he said, you're really a primary care doctor for men on androgens. I said, I'll agree to that because I'm looking at all the mental health, the heart health, the prostate health, the kidney health. It's primary care for men on steroids and
Yeah.
testosterone all the way to steroids, right? There's a spectrum.
So
I
so
love it.
that's really what testosteronology is. If you really
It
break
is.
it down. Yeah.
It's
primary care for androgen users or past androgen users.
I guess, or current, or men just that are just on testosterone. Because Ron, half my practice are just straight up, doc, I've never used steroids, but they come to me on testosterone because they had hypogonadism, because they got older and they had pre-diabetes or metabolic, or they just, I didn't start testosterone. They came to me on testosterone and they wanted better management.
Yeah.
So half are TRT guys, and the other half are more complicated anabolic steroid users that, and if you look at the TRT guys, they're definitely easier to take care of. You know, taking care of the anabolic steroid users, I never turn them away, but whew, that's complicated stuff, Ron, because dose dependent. So anabolic steroid use can be used safely. Okay, dose dependently, you're just looking at more complications. And when you're young, they're all young. When you're young, you have a threshold that's that high. And then you get older and it comes to the day the guy had the clot, the day the guy had the heart attack, the morning before, the night of, he didn't have, the minute before, he was fine. So it's gambling. It's all statistical numbers and permutations and combinations of risks. I take a heavy evaluation and I know how to minimize all those risks. I'm an internist on steroids.
Drop the mic right there. That's it.
I mean,
yeah, that really sums it up right there. Yeah.
That was awesome, Ron. But so steroids appear to be, for some men, utilized safely. And I did a consult with a pretty famous woman this week, just an hour consultation, because women can do consultations. I will not treat women, but they can do consultations. And I love it because they trust me. And it was pretty cool. It was a, professional figure-ish, figure of kind of fitness girl, and amazing story. And she was thyroid toxic, so I was like, oh boy, but I see that all the time, just super thyroid toxic on just too much Cytomel. Didn't even need Cytomel. And she was a sweetheart. She didn't realize, the baby doses of Winnie and Anavar, though, right? The baby doses. And she knows that she's getting older. She's not old, but she's going to get older. She knows the complications. She's resisting. She's a beast, I think, and not a beast. I mean, like, she's just so healthy. She's so young and healthy that she has a lot of resistance, because she's got a lot of, she's so, the bodies don't break in one cycle. What's underlying? Some people do, and some people appear to go a long time, but do you agree with me, Ron? I mean, it's just,
oh yeah, I mean,
some healthy man, but are you taking a life? Are you deteriorating a life span? You could be.
I don't for a minute think I'm going to live as long as I would have. No, I don't. I think that would be incredibly naive of me to believe that.
But hold on. Wow. Yeah. If the people having popcorn right now are not having enough salt on the popcorn, what did he say?
Even carrying a lot of muscle mass and eating large volumes of food every day without taking steroids, you're shortening your life.
Probably. True.
Because you're taxing the systems of your body. Correct. Your heart's got to work harder. The circulation, your kidneys, everything has to work harder to support all this extra muscle mass.
Little dogs live a long life. Big dogs die earlier. No one's going to argue me.
I have a Shih Tzu who's going to be 18 in October, for God's sake. 18.
I love that.
I had a German Shepherd Collie. He didn't make it past 10.
Thank you. Yeah. We're talking science. Yeah. Science.
I mean, people, there have been many studies just on longevity and body weight saying that people that eat less food and are technically a little underweight, tend to live much longer than anybody who's overweight.
Caloric restriction studies, rhesus monkeys, human, correct.
Yeah. So, you add all this food, all this extra muscle mass, because, on paper, I'm obese. At 5'7.5", 225, I'm obese. According to that BMI.
You're still a young man. You're 50, 51. How old are you?
I'll be 51 in September.
So you're a young man. That's still a pretty young man. You could have lived to 90 or 100 and you're going to die at 80. I don't know, God forbid, Ron. I want you to live to 110 with me. But
I hate to sound so careless, so reckless, but my dad, my dad never did a recreational drug in his life. He enjoyed his occasional beer. He was a mail carrier, so he walked about 10 miles a day, Monday through Saturday. Didn't eat junk food. He wasn't the healthiest eater, but nothing on paper would have suggested he was going to die young. And he got heart disease in his mid 50, about 54, 55, got on some meds for that. And then 57, a little before he turned 57, he was I'm sorry. Shortly after he turned 57, he was diagnosed with cancer. He was already stage 3 at that point because he'd been feeling things and never complained. Long story short, he passed away at 57 from that. And who's to say? I'm not saying that I don't want to live to be 70, 80 years old, 90 years old, whatever. I don't think anybody on their deathbed says, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. I'm ready to go. Nobody wants to die. I don't want to die.
Perfect. Exactly.
But I
So,
fully recognize the lifestyle that I chose of bodybuilding and especially adding the steroids in. I know I'm not going to live as long as I probably would have, unless something like cancer or something like that just knocks me out anyway, or straight
so if
bullet
I
or a
asked you,
meteor.
Ron, I feel like a lawyer. If I asked you, sir, do you think steroids can be used safely?
No,
Okay.
yeah, they can be used safer.
I agree with that. I agree
And
with
because like yourself, I've known so many good men and women over the years who are steroid users, and I don't want to see anybody die. I don't want to see anybody have terrible health problems. I hope that most of them would really take an proactive interest in their health and work closely with a physician and get themselves monitored. And if they have high blood pressure, manage that. If they have
perfect.
cholesterol, manage that. If you have calcium, manage all these things to the best of your
Perfect.
abilities. And if you're
With-
at a
without-
point where
No,
if
it's interesting to close on that. What if you're on a little less doses and you're on TRT and you're super vigilant and you have the best medical care and you're perfect vital signs? That's interesting. Live to 110 with poodles. Oh, did I say that?
yeah,
So that's what I'm all about. So that's interesting to me, and that's my take. So, versus people like you said that have most men. This is why I'm really leading this men's health. It's so beautiful that men don't get medical. Some women don't get medical care either. So if you're on, it's interesting that the steroid use. If these are like 20, 30-year-old guys that are listening, beautiful. If you're using something and you're nervous about it, and that's appropriate, you should be nervous, not a full ranting cowboy. You're like, I wonder if. And then it brings you to get to one of my testosteronologists. That's beautiful, Ron. Come on, man. That's like, did the gear end up saving lives? Maybe.
well, I mean, you can't get these doctors trained fast enough, Thomas. That's all I can say.
I'm working on it. I'll do my
Yeah,
best.
I mean, testosteronology.com, guys, and if there's any doctors out there interested, and they have to be an internist, right?
Got to be board certified internal medicine. You got to be cut deep from the cloth. You got to be through rigorous training programs before you'll be accepted into my fellowship.
But if any of them are watching, please think about becoming, because the men of the world need more testosteronologists. We don't have enough doctors who are A, informed on the matter, and B, sympathetic enough to treat and not judge these patients. So
Ron,
you're doing great work, doctor. Please thank you for that, and please continue. Also want to tell everyone, doctors, non-doctors, Anabolic Doc channel on YouTube. Anabolic Doc is where you'll find the doctor's videos, which are annotated, very well organized. They're not all over the place like my videos because I'm scatterbrained. But Anabolic Doc on YouTube.
Ron, we just hit 99,000 subs.
Wow. And that's only 2 years or less.
Less, about 18 months.
Wow. That's impressive.
99. Come on, guys. Let's get to 100,000. I'm like that in about, we should be there in about a week. We get about some days 150, some days 300 subs a day.
And I also heard June 17th, your gyms are opening up in Connecticut?
Yes.
Road trip. Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be big parties, man. I hope the thing doesn't pipe back up anywhere.
Hey, I was in Hartford last weekend to pick up with my daughter a Persian cat. So yeah, I thought of the doctor. It was a Walmart in Hartford.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
well, doctor, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're very busy. Appreciate you always doing these videos with us. It's very much appreciated by myself and all the viewers. And testosteronology.com, guys. Please visit the website. Please visit the YouTube channel, Anabolic Doc. Like and subscribe. Do all that good stuff. Thanks for watching Ask the Anabolic Doc, and we'll see you next time.
Maybe our best show yet. I don't know, Ron.
We say